difficulty in the 90s that she and her family experienced, but that perseverance, I think that was a symbol to everyone around the world, that she was human and yet regal, and that she went through the same kind of things that families go through, and that she was a constant pillar of perseverance, of keep calm and carry on, and of selflessness in so many ways. So I think there are extraordinary lessons here. I wish, that there was a story to cover of her life that went on further than this week, but it has been an extraordinary story, and we're looking now at some of the individuals who will carry that story on as it continues to unfold.
And you have helped us tell that story so well, Martha MacCallum and Ainsley Earhardt. Thank you for being there for us.
Thank you, ladies.
We appreciate it, and get home safe. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you guys. Thank you. Yes,
really
we
extraordinary coverage by the entire channel, and them in particular. Duncan Larcombe joined us last week and helped us also understand what was happening, and spoke so movingly about the Queen. And he joins us now as the final goodbyes were said. Duncan?
Final goodbyes said to the Queen. God bless.
We all agree with
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.
I mean, he summed it up quite brilliantly there. What
See you tomorrow.
And I'm only saying that because now I know he's gone off air. No, I mean, what a day. Piers was trying to convey that sense, and I think he's absolutely right. And for me, that moment right there at the end in Windsor Castle, in St George's Chapel, when basically King Charles, a man who's lived his entire life in the Queen's shadow, in his own father's shadow, and to some extent for a time in his own wife's shadow, when Princess Diana and him were married. They sang the national anthem, they panned right in on King Charles's face, and I think that was, for me anyway, that was the moment, the transitional moment. Now the country, the world to some extent has turned out to pay respects to Queen Elizabeth, but now the era of King Charles begins, and I felt that was the moment really for me that it began. So incredible emotions here, and it's so pleasing if you're British to see the level of interest in our Queen and our royal family from abroad. So yeah, let me pass that on behalf of British people, and not that I'm qualified to speak on their behalf, but you understand.
Duncan, do you believe we'll ever be given a cause of death for the Queen? I ask that because 36 hours prior, she met the new incoming Prime Minister and seemed older and smaller, but healthy.
Well, in a way, yes, I suppose. I mean, it was about a year ago now the Queen came back from Balmoral, her summer break last year, having mourned the death of her husband, and she made it perfectly clear to her team and her advisors, and actually us in the press, I'm going nowhere. She was going to carry on and carry on and carry on, and of course here we are a year later, and we still don't actually know what it was in the end that took Queen Elizabeth from her. We knew she wasn't well. We knew she'd spent at least one night in hospital in the past year. She pulled out of a lot of engagements, but we don't actually know what took her. As you say, Bill, from that moment of meeting a new Prime Minister at the kissing of the hand ceremony, within 2 days we were all shell-shocked with this incredibly surprising news that she had actually passed away. So it seems like a long time ago now, but I think it's really only until today, until this incredible series of events. It's not just one funeral. In many ways, it's several ceremonies rolled into one. It's only really now that we can perhaps start to say, okay, now we focus on what's next. Yes. What's next for King Charles? What's next for the royal family? What's next for Harry and Meghan? And of course, even seeing him there, little George.
Yes.
What's next for him?
Well, and
9 years
Princess
old, looking
Charlotte.
at that. Yeah. Wow.
She's
cute little
got
kids.
a lot of charisma indeed. Duncan Larcombe, former royal editor of The Sun, a Fox News contributor with us. Thank you so much. Stand by for a moment. Niall Gardner is the director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom. And now, one of the things that Bill just asked Martha MacCallum, I thought was a very good question. I'd like to put it to you, which is, where do you see the UK going from here, from this moment?
Well, thanks very much for having me on the show today, Dana.
Thanks
What an
for watching.
extraordinary
God bless.
day here in
God
London.
bless the king.
Incredible moment. Bidding farewell, of course,
Rest in peace, Queen.
to a queen who was on the throne for 70
See you next
years.
video.
So the end of an era here.
Patriots, thanks for
I think in
watching.
terms of the future,
And please
I
subscribe.
believe the British monarchy is actually in very strong shape. There is overwhelming public support. You've seen a huge outpouring of grief here in the United Kingdom, mourning for the passing of the Queen.